impressed with Snitch in a big way for such a long time. Last GCWC, I felt like he was the MVP on Dignitas as well. Now he's doing great for himself again. Next map is going to be Dragonshire, picked by SPT.
I do believe Team Dignitas picked this battleground versus Fnatic yesterday. Yes, they did.
Yep. And Dignitas favored a Genji approach together with Tyrael and Karazim. Played a fantastic macro game, but Fnatic was able to clinch it in those final moments.
Yeah, a few people got caught, especially in the mid. Zalia's Karazim, JPL's Tyrael, even a surprise Valkyrie from Fnatic to make sure that they could get that first kill on Tyrael.
Yeah.
We'll see how SPT plays or drafts to Dragonshire. If they can get their globals, I expect they'll want to go that way. But they've also tried playing the Junkrat approach with the double ranged, double support Junkrat in the top. A couple of different ways that SPT could play that out.
Now yesterday against Fnatic, Dignitas was banning ETC, but I don't think it's as much of a concern for them this time around. They also banned Anubarak.
A ban to Haka here. Doing the homework, knowing that SPT likes globals a lot on Dragonshire. Melody sees Falstad, soaps to Haka. Well, but SPT will take away the Genji from Dignitas.
Is this instant Tassadar for Dignitas? Everything in this tournament so far shows that they have not been wanting to allow any team to get Tassadar Tracer, to the point where if Dignitas let the opponent get Tassadar, they'll take a Tracer with a random other support, either Morales or Rhaegar. So instant Tassadar, that means predictable for SPT. They will actually continue their support denial focus that they also exhibited last game. And I think the idea was good. Truly, I believe last game SPT just got outclassed on the execution. That was not a draft win or loss. So I still like this idea by SPT.
Yeah, I agree. SPT went in with a clear game plan. They were focused on trying to get or just play safely and get a lot of the skeletal defenders and then finish off the shrine with Molten Core. But it only worked out once for them, and only at the cost of losing several of their team members. Team Dignitas does get Task Tracer, and that looks scary for SPT.
Yeah.
Pretty scary.
So, how do you try to ban? How do you try to counter Tracer normally?
Team Dignitas themselves used to draft Varian, but Varian suffers in wave clear. He takes a long time to ramp up, and in that long time, Tracer's running around putting pulse bombs on your teammates.
Yeah, the ironic part with the Varian Tracer matchup is that Varian is not a hero until level 10, and she has her heroic at level 1.
Level 1.
So it's like this very nasty juxtaposition of reverse power spikes, and you know, Varian, as good as he is, at level 10, you may already be a little bit behind by that time.
Some teams will go for the new taunt, the new Varian with Garrosh.
Oh, right.
Trying to use Groundbreaker to force recall. They can also use that as a way of trying to force the positioning of JPL's ETC. But in general, SPT has not been the Garrosh team in China, and they're not even going to get to be the Garrosh team in this game because Dignitas bans them.
Now you can also defeat Tracer with Diablo. This is not Diablo's favorite map to do so, but it's a point-and-click stun if you cast it at the right time with a wall behind. This is generally what you want against Tracer. By comparison, Stormbolt is so difficult to hit. You don't want to go Anubarak because Cocoon gets 0 value. Both Tassadar and Tracer have an attack speed of 4 per second. That means in less than 2 seconds, Cocoon will be gone.
A lot of wave clears may be another possibility. The nice thing about having both Tass and Tracer together is obviously Tracer gets a lot out of the lifesteal from Tassadar's shielding, but also Tassadar makes up for the wave clear deficit of Tracer with Psystorm, but maybe if SPT could try to win in that respect and just push the lanes hard and safely.
Yeah, that's often how teams try to beat Tracer on Tomb of the Spider Queen, for instance. Double warrior, double support, great wave clear.
Oh, they're going to do it.
They're going to do it. Varian with Taunt, maybe Judgment, maybe Sanct, we will see. It is double warrior, double support. You know, it would be crazy if SPT took Brightwing last. Triple support, double warrior. Point and click polymorph.
Abandons no man.
Uther. And what for the top, Team Dignitas?
You're probably going to be either against Tyrael or Rhaegar in top lane, with an occasional Kharazim visit. You need something with good wave clear. It can be range as well. You could put Tassadar there in theory, but generally Tusk Tracer are going to be pairing. Maybe Dignitas puts Tusk Tracer together top lane, also possible.
SPT also could run a 2-1-2 with a support up in the top, along with somebody. I guess Tyrael. Tyrael will probably be the top laner, though.
Yeah.
It's a strange
Do you go
setup for SPT.
Gul'dan here against 4 melee? Oh, it's going to be Leo. Solo Assassin Tracer. Now, I'm ready for the Brightwing.
Leoric's nice, though, with so many warriors of SPT.
Would they Tychus? Reliable auto attack against Tracer, same range, double warrior, you have minigun, Odin to do 25 armor against Pulse Bomb, you've got Neosteel, Relentless Soldier against ETC.
Cassia. Cassia will give
I think
blinds
Cassia,
if you can hit her, as long as you hit her.
Cassia and Tychus are a little bit similar. Short range, good defense. I like the Cassia as a solo assassin. I think either one would have worked, Tychus or Cassia. Get a bit more poke out of Cassia with those lightning javelins.
Yeah, also inner light possible for Cassia with an ETC on the other side. And ETC Uther. They go in for the stuns, have the inner light that drops the blind on your location.
Yeah.
Maybe hope that you hit Tracer if they're just coming in for a melee or a pulse bomb.
I think SPT has the draft that they would need in order to win that game, but it is very difficult for them until level 10 because both Varian and Tyrael are so level 10 dependent. They are not heroes until that time. So I expect that a normal, like if the teams were equally skilled, I would expect SPT to get to level 9 flat against level 10 flat, just because they have to give up parts of the map. If they pretend that they are an equally balanced team pre-10, I expect many kills by Dignitas against SPT.
I just get the feeling with how that draft played out that from beginning to end, Dignitas ran that whole thing.
Yeah, they got what they wanted.
Yeah, and maybe it's just that SPT didn't feel confident in the same way that other teams do when seeing the tasks to get Tracer and Morales.
Yeah, that's the thing. Pretty much it's Dignitas and Kyocha from KSV who are comfortable to take solo Tracer without TAS.
Yeah. Here they are, SPT in blue. Down one game in the series, Soap playing Tyrael, Melody Sion Kharazim, Misaka playing Varian, Xin Xiao on Cassia, and ZZH will be playing Rhaegar.
And here in the right, on the red from Europe, Team Dignitas, Zelia on Uther, Snitch on Tassadar, Poik on Tracer, Wooby on Leoric, and JPL on ETC.
Parry build for Varian. But don't expect anything other than taunt.
I mean, if wave clear is needed, and wave clear is, Twin Blades is a lot better.
Yeah. But in this case, after seeing the Garrosh ban still going into a Varian, would expect that that was 100% taken so that he could taunt the Tracer. Point and click, crowd control, very good to deal with the Tracer, but it is not guaranteed, and especially because Team Dignitas have a long time that they can feel not threatened by that Varian.
Now, talking about the early stage of the game, you see the 5v5 mid, and this should be in favor of Dignitas. And the question is, why does SPT do it, considering they don't have 2 level 10 abilities yet on their warriors? By that I mean they're so not fully online, Tyrael and Varian. But had they not done it, I think Dignitas goes for both of the towers mid. Even now the tower is half-life already. And so I think it's just the defense to prevent that kind of tower cheese early game. That's a good move by SPT recognizing that. Nonetheless, SPT is still applying pressure on that tower.
Team Dignitas put a lot of pressure on Misaka too. Power slide to hold down for the pulse bomb. But even without having shield wall at 4, he still had a parry charge to block some auto attacks until he could get to safety. SPT seemed to just be trying to figure out what is going to make them lose the least in this early game in the laning setup. Misaka it's a struggle mid, and Dignitas, as you say, recognize this and are doing even more. Melody C and ZZH, both of the supports are rotating around, seeing where they could help. We've even seen Shenxiao come up to the mid when he can too. But it's going to be a matter of just trying to make sure they don't lose too much and try to keep up, make sure they're keeping up with the soak, just so that they can get to 10 without being too far behind.
Exactly. That's the name of the game here. You know, if SPT can make it to level 16 versus 18, together with Holy Ground and the banner of whatever from Varian, SPT has a good chance again. But I like the laning setup by Dignitas. They have made sure that they have 2 winning lanes and 1 losing lane. Leoric beats Tyrael, Tracer Tassadar beats Varian, obviously, mid lane, and then ETC, Uther just kind of hold their own and defend bottom lane. I know, you know, ideally you would expect SPT to do more damage to bottom lane, but because Tracer and Tusk can pop down so quickly and keep Varian away, they are unable to overextend too much to take down Dignitas' bottom towers.
Yeah, it's more about safety, more about clearing out the waves as fast as they can and calling out rotations from the mid to the bottom or from the bottom to the mid. Shield wall now available, but Misaka gets knocked back. They're going in for the body blocks. One more protect. Pulse bomb, though. And with a recall out, Poik takes out Misaka for first blood.
The cool thing is the way Poik did that, he actually followed up with a melee within half a second of the pulse round, I believe. That means that either, if there was somehow still a parry charge available, it would have either blocked the melee or the pulse round, not both. So that was the best way to guarantee the kill. Good play by Poik, and already hitting more pulse rounds than in that first series that Dignitas had in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm sure he is eager to show off his Tracer play and say, no, that game was just a fluke, guys. It was my first time on LAN. Cut me some slack. Yeah. Let me show you just how good my Tracer can be.
Dignitas with the expected early lead. This isn't even about the fact that they outplayed or anything. It's really how this draft is anti-symmetrically balanced. And SPT is so far limiting losses in the best way that they can.
Yeah, SPT have been doing really well in the top lane with Soap there and then Melody C rotating up to help out when he can. Pulse Bomb doesn't connect there on Shenxiao. Drops the blind as he runs back. Ended up going with Ring of the Leech. That does give him some self-sustain, and knowing how much the rotations have been going in and out for the supports to try to help out the double warrior laning situation for SPT makes sense just to try to make sure that Cassia is staying alive and holding her own in that bottom lane.
Yeah. And he's doing a good job, Shenxiao. Not even a level deficit, keeping the fort alive as best he can. It's an impossible job to defend perfectly, but they're doing what they can. ZZH dropping low in mana. Unable to take any camps is SPT because they're already so hard pressed.
Yeah, the laning situation for them requires the utmost concentration, all of their focus. And Dignitas doing everything that they possibly can to get this early lead, take advantage of the early game lead and composition that they do have for that Tracer. Sitting at level 9. They've nearly taken down a fort in the bottom lane now. After taking out those towers, this has become more of the primary focus. Letting SPT do what they want to do in the top lane as long as they're not getting too much done and that Dignitas are always coming out on top in the trade.
In comes ETC. Power slide miss on Cassia. That probably means Cassia doesn't die.
He lives. ZZH comes back down to help out. Now is the problem for Team Dignitas, or for SPT though, is Dignitas gets 10 and has the heroic abilities for a little while over SPT. SPT know this, they're trying to get their camp at least before Dig get heroic abilities, but they're getting harassed by JPL.
And you know, ETC's mosh pit is going to be a big problem. The total amount of interrupts by SPT is 3 potentially. Valkyrie from Cassia if he picks that heroic. Cleanse on Varian, then walking in and doing taunt on ETC, and Judgment.
And those generally are not the heroic abilities.
It's only Cleanse and taunt then. Ideally, Ball Lightning would be preferred here probably, but I think for that reason it may just be Valkyrie. Problem is, Valkyrie takes the furthest target. That means if someone stands right on top of ETC, ETC will not be interrupted from it.
This seems so scary for SPT that they were staying up in the top lane, but they did have eyes on several members of Team Dignitas. Finally, SPT give up the Dragon Knight, but that delay in the top lane and not losing anyone during it let them get heroic abilities to defend this push. And finally, SPT have heroic abilities. They did not take Valkyrie. They did not take Judgment. So they have to be watching out for the mosh pits from JPL.
Yeah, so now it's Cleanse and Taunt to interrupt mosh pit, or Sanctification on the edge of mosh pit to protect half the mosh pit victims. It really depends how good of the mosh pit it will be, what will happen there. There are a lot of supports, so Ancestral can also keep someone alive. It's not all about interrupting it, it's also just about staying alive. So it will be up to SPT to position very well. Dignitas is splitting with the Dragon Knight, one of the teams that enjoys incremental damage on structures the most. Not always grouping up. Really good macro play, Dignitas.
And that was all set up very early on from Team Dignitas, that they were able to push both mid and bottom effectively, taking advantage of the composition weaknesses of SPT in the early game to give them the 2 forts. And what that does is a level lead, charge all the way around, ring around the rosy for Snitch. No more dimensional shift now, Soap hoping that he can get the body blocks for them. Taunt, turn around, the rest of the team coming in, but too late to save Tassadar. Ball lightning used, but SPT gets a kill.
Yeah, and I think if Snitch knew that his force wall was going to be quite so effective, he would have saved dimensional shift. Variant's charge had already timed out. Now he no longer had dimensional shift to get away from the second engage. The supports were too far away to save him, Uther specifically. Nonetheless, not that big of a loss for Dignitas, but still good for SPT. They're now only 1 level down. Look at this. Fallen Bruiser are pushing top. This forces Wooby's Leoric to defend top. And so SPT could, in theory, want to do a 5 versus 4 bot, but they're keeping Karazim there for much needed experience.
13 could be really beneficial to SPT depending on what variant wants to get. Shattering Throw is a possibility.
Yeah.
As a way of, if they taunt that Tracer, you can taunt. If they taunt that Tracer and then use the Shattering Throw to take off the Tassadar shielding from that, maybe a way to get a fast kill, a fast win off of the taunt.
If only Shattering Throw worked on Divine Shield.
Yeah, that's true. Not so much there, but at least forcing the Divine Shield, and that is a cooldown victory for SPT nevertheless.
Now, SPT, they get their level 13, much desired. And they're getting closer and closer to Tyrael's greatest power point at level 16, Holy Ground, where you throw Eldruin's Might, and upon teleportation, you create an impossible territory. Very strong to zone people.
There you go, Shattering Throw.
Nice. Every auto attack is also empowered against shields. And of course you have that point and click 2000 damage, removing pretty much any shield of the game.
14-13 our Team Dignitas. Both teams getting mercenary camps to set up for this moment, the next Dragon Knight phase. These Giants are helping keep SPT in this bottom lane despite not having a fort here.
That's a very quick taunt on ETC. Not quite, you know, the follow-up available. That's 8-second cooldown now. Pulse Bomb is gone on Chen Xiao.
Eats a lot of damage from that.
Don't be late with the Ancestral this time, I would say, ZZH.
Whoa, Wubby March the Black King through Melody C, who goes into 7-sided strike. This is not an ideal setup laning-wise for SPT at all, but this is the problem with wanting to have Tyrael and Sanctification now down with the team for the team fight. They're fighting a 4v4, but that Leoric is just heavily pressuring the top lane of SPT.
Yeah, you know, in theory, Melody C can take out Wooby in a one-on-one fight. It's just Leoric has way more sway over that wave.
Yes.
And that's what's giving Dignitas nice experience as well.
Void goes in for another Pulse Bomb and a Parting Gift. ZZH still has the heals.
Ancestral.
This drops down with the Fen, Sanctification 2, taunt, everything used, but Mosh Pit as the turnaround. Soap zoned away from the team, but uses Eldruin's Might and Smite. The movement speed bonus to get away, at least for now.
March of the Black King is available. Karazim is still top, still clearing waves. Everyone stays alive for SPT, excuse me. And Dragon Knight to Dignitas. Good job.
That's just a pretty awful laning setup for SPT. If they cannot get a kill from that taunt, and Divine Shield is just so good against that, It's rough for SPT. They do have heroic abilities, but that laning problem for them was well caused by Team Dignitas. They get another Dragon Knight. They're going to split push yet again down in the bottom lane. And the Dragon Knight staying mid for those towers for now.
And Dignitas playing this very methodically. Just disengaging, knowing that the Dragon Knight is pushing against only 1 or 2 heroes, getting lots of value mid. Already through the entire wall, now going for the keep. Anytime Dignitas can buy is a big win. Pulse rounds on Tyrael and he goes down.
Oh, Soap chased for so long in the back line of Team Dignitas before they finally just turned around and made short work of him. The entirety of that fight, Wubby with the Dragon Knight unchecked in the mid keep as he brings it down. Team Dignitas take down a keep. They have a 2-level lead over SPT. It's looking more and more like they'll be able to get a 2-0 victory in this series.
Yeah, and if they do, they will elevate themselves to 8 points, Dignitas, and they will momentarily overtake Ballistics in the standings, who is facing Roll 20 right after this match. So if Dignitas make sure to avoid rank 4, they will also avoid KSV in the playoffs, which is a pretty big deal. So Dignitas would really like to get this map.
SPT are ready to start charging back in and see if they can get a kill somewhere on some of the members of Team Dignitas.
More spit available. JPL sharking around looking for that opportunity. Keep already down to 40%. Dignitas, no signs of letting up. They're still against level 15 talent.
But once 16 hits, I would like to see Soap immediately go. And they're close enough now. He threw out the Aldruin, and Dignitas were not ready to take that on. With the Holy Ground, then having a Sanctification for the team to dive in, Team Dignitas have way too much of a lead to give that up for a long chase back to their forts.
Yeah, nice. Really going away at the perfect time there, using the Psy Storms to do any potential dismounts. Dignitas go away. Very successful campaign. 1 keep down, 20% of the other one. And now SPT is doing exactly what they should be, right? They're going for enemy siege camp, trying to force some kind of fights. The question is, does Dignitas give it to them? Look at that build-up of minions in the mid lane. Wubby applying additional pressure in the top lane as well. Tracer starting a bruiser camp by herself.
Man, this is not getting any easier for SPT. Team Dignitas getting the bruiser camp so that they can keep that top lane for so long in their favor. Really quick, just grab the shrine and then bring down the 5-man for the fight down at the bottom, if necessary, or just manipulate the rotations of SPT for a little bit longer and Team Dignitas can get 20. And likely the Dragon Knight for free unless SPT is willing to fight them without their Storm talents.
Yeah. SPT 5-man bot, it's 5v5. Can a good Holy Ground secure a good result here? So much push all over the map. That's double Dignitas bruiser camps. And SPT is putting all their cards on the table. Dignitas has seen that all 5 are here. Taunt, really not the follow-up that's needed. The coordination is off. Misaka goes in, no one reacts. They see it, then they react, 7-sided, but ETC gets away easily. SPT needs a better synergy here in order to come back into this game.
And this has given so much time for Wubby to clear out the mid, push that, clear out the top, push that. Now he goes up, takes that shrine. 19 and a quarter for Team Dignitas on their way to 20 as they take both of the shrines. SPT is forced into a situation where if they want to 5v fight, they have to be in the mid to watch and not allow that Dragon Knight to go for free. But the top lane, Wubby is just by himself with the mercenary camp pushing down the towers there to try to get them 20 even faster. Collapse may be coming in from SPT, but there's some confusion as to where they want to try to make that final stand.
Yeah, you know, Wubby is doing just Wubby things, trying to get a keep. Nice holy shock from Celia there on Qian Xiao, keeping Cassia low. And Dignitas has the level 20. Oh, nice bait by Poik. Actually, that was deliberate. Pushing Varian in that far, waiting for the charge. Triple blink back.
Yeah, and the follow-up there, having the force wall, this is such a problem for Varian. Cassia goes down. The mosh pit behind that. Sanctification from Soap, but it doesn't bail everyone out of that mosh pit, and already 2 kills for Team Dignitas as they work on bringing down the whole entire team with that Divine Shielded Poik Tracer.
Yeah, nice play by Dignitas. Bolt of the Storm, mosh pit. The desolation is complete. SPT loses all 5 members. Dignitas had already pushed through the top and bottom keep as well. Wubby never came to the team fight, but he got 2 keeps.
Turns out, when you are 4v5, you have a Task Tracer with a Divine Shield available when the Tracer wants it, and level 20. Wubby can do his own thing.
Yeah,
Sets everything up for this core push.
Just perfectly played by Dignitas. A 4-level lead, very methodical, putting on a clinic, great shot calling, great rotations. And they get that second win. Dignitas is now 8 points and momentarily the second place in the groups. Now, of course, Ballistics is still facing Roll 20. They are at 7 points. But Dignitas is about 99% sure of advancing, if not 100%.
Yeah, Team Dignitas looking very good in that series. Right, everyone advances to the knockout stage, but it's what placing you're in, the top 4, the bottom 4, that determines if you're in the upper bracket or the lower bracket. But Team Dignitas played that super well. In the early stages of the game, they made sure to abuse the lack of wave clear, the struggle with the untraditional lanes, and being okay with the Tyrael Siege, which is just not that much, even with Melody C trying to come up, to get a lot more in the mid and bottom. And then, once SPT turns on with heroic abilities, they still abuse the laning situation, where Soap wants to be with the team to have Sanctification in case there is a mosh pit, putting Melody C as a laner versus Wubby. And Wubby's Leoric, once he has Neil Peasants, he can clear out those waves so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you would want to move ZZH, Rhaegar, to the top lane, as he has the best wave clear with Lightning Shield and Lightning Bond. But Rhaegar doesn't have nearly as easy of a time getting away from ganks, and he's needed with Cleanse and Ancestral in the main team fight. Laning mismatches all around, and Dignitas both outdrafting and outclassing SPT here. Keep in mind also that Dignitas' next match tomorrow in the final day of group stage is going to be against BTG, who haven't won a map yet, and that's probably a 2-0 for Dignitas. There's probably 10 points in the groups for them that will put them at, I believe, almost guaranteed second place.
Congratulations to Poik, who receives MVP for that game for his Tracer play. A lot of hit pulse bombs, a lot of kills, are forcing back the members of SPT with the damage of that. Well done by him. Well done by Team Dignitas, looking to close out the group stage strong with just one series left.
Yeah, very good play by them. And, you know, SPT, they are bottom 4. That's pretty much guaranteed now. That does still mean that they will advance to the lower bracket on December 6th. Where the knockout phase will be commencing. Everything is going to be best of 5 there. And, you know, if you win all your series, you can still advance. But much to learn here, to be honest, for SPT against Dignitas. Our next match is going to be